Welcome to More Than a Brand podcast, the podcast for scaling founders who have hit the 100K mark and realize what got you here won't get you there. My name is Lindsay Tramel-Jones, the People CXO and the CEO of Fierceified Creative and Consultant. This show is dedicated to the art and science of customer retention. We're here to help you move from being the bottleneck to being the architect of your customer experience. Time to stop chasing the next lead and start stewarding the ones you've already got. You've done the hard part by building the vision. Now let's build the machine. This is More Than a Brand. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to this episode of More Than a Brand. Y'all, if you pay attention, you can build a shift in the air, in the atmosphere, before anybody ever starts talking about it. Like, you know how, when the energy in the room changes, I know sometimes I'm always screaming, read the room, because people don't always have the ability to read the room. But when you know how to read the room, read the world, read what's going on, then you notice that things are shifting. And I've been feeling this about small businesses a little bit from 2025, but especially now in 2026. Because things are really unfolding in this country. And I'm not going to get political, so don't worry about it. Because it's not just a political shift. It's economic, it's emotional, and it's communal. And with those shifts, people are really paying attention to where their money goes. And with all the things that come out, the abundance of information that we have access to, people are seeing the overlap between power and corporations. They're watching these big brands make record profit while everyday people are feeling stretched. The food in America is not made out of the best products or manufactured the best way or grown the best way. I lived in Italy for a little bit, for a couple years, and it was the best food I've ever had. I drank and I ate things I would never eat or drink here. And the taste is different. My 16-year-old daughter, she was 3 at the time when we lived there, told me a couple months ago, "Mom, I am constantly chasing taste from my childhood that I just can't get." And sadly, she's not going to get it with us living here. But this episode is not about me living abroad and the food, but it is really about how customers are shifting how they're buying. Customers are shifting who they're choosing to spend money with. And that shift is going to impact communities in a good way, especially for small businesses. And this is just my predictions. Before I get into this, though, I want to keep it real. Some people are still going to support those big Some people are, let's keep it real, some people will always support those big corporations. They just will. Some people don't have, depending on where you are, sometimes the only place you have to purchase from is one of the bigger corporations. And I get it, because convenience is a strong drug. But what I believe we're going to see moving forward is consumers intentionally choosing smaller businesses. Not because it's Small Business Saturday or because it's trendy. It's because they know that their money is helping someone build something real. And they trust, and they've gotten to know the person behind that small business to know that they're not scamming them. They're not pumping them with pesticides. They're doing their best to make sure that they are getting what they need from that business. And they're delivering on that brand promise without all the extra additives, pun intended. If you are a small business owner, this shift is an opportunity that I don't want you to let pass you by. If your back-end experience is trash, is duct taped together, growth will feel like pressure and not progress. So today when we're talking about retention, because I really believe that we'll see an influx of people doing business with smaller businesses versus corporations, I want you to think about how you can improve your back end while I give you ways to improve your retention. Because when you improve your customer retention by just 5%, your profits can increase by up to 65%. Think about it. And let it sit in your spirit. Improving customer retention by 5% could give you 65% more profits. That math is math. And I already know what you're thinking. Retention sounds great, but I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. You're the CEO, you're the social media manager, the accountant, the customer service, the tech support, fulfillment visionary. You're wearing all the hats and you are super tired. And adding retention feels like one more thing, but here's the shift you need to hear. When you focus on retention, everything is going to get lighter. You'll stop living launch to launch. You stop feeling like every month has to start with zero, and you stop chasing attention to stabilize revenue. Look, retention is going to create you breathing room, so that's why I'm always going to stand 10 toes down with it. If more consumers start choosing small businesses in the next few years, you need a strong enough system to hold them. Let's break this down into 3 practical ways that I want you to prepare for this influx. Because while everybody's fleeing the big corporations, I want your small business to be ready to retain the customers that you're going to grab up. The first point that I want to make when you are thinking about retention is I want you to follow up. And follow up like you really want that relationship. We live in a world where people want constant dopamine drops. They always want answers right now. People aren't really reading, they're skimming, and they're forgetting. As soon as you scroll, you're forgetting. And people get distracted. If you don't follow up, they assume 2 things. You forgot or you don't care. And usually that's not the case. It's on your to-do list. So you haven't forgotten, or nor do you not care. But retention starts before the sale is even complete. So it's important that you have a system that allows you to follow up and retain those customers. If somebody inquires, respond quickly as possible. If someone asks a question, don't answer once and disappear because they might have follow-on questions. I taught a class about leadership, and in this leadership class that I was teaching, I spoke about how you have to have the capacity. Real talk. Is your business currently a duct tape masterpiece? Like you're hitting your revenue goals, but behind the scenes you are struggling because your customer journey is manual, messy, and dependent on you to function? That's why I created Flow Tribe. This isn't a program. It's a 10-week engineering sprint for founders who've hit that 100K revenue and they're ready to stop being a bottleneck and holding things up. We use my proprietary RISE method to rewire your infrastructure. We alternate between brain weeks to learn the strategy and build weeks to actually deploy the systems. We start with a Flow MRI to find your invisible revenue leaks in 15 minutes. Listen. Stop patching processes and start engineering a flow. Apply for the next Flow Tribe cohort at flowtribe.co. That's FLOWTRIBE.co. Let's build your machine. Now back to the episode. To be able to answer to the question is. What I mean by that is we say, how you doing? And we don't have the capacity to get that answer. So when you're following up, and you answer that question and you say, let me know if you need anything else, there needs to be the capacity to answer that anything else. And if someone purchases, I also want you to make sure you're checking in afterwards. Retention doesn't end after that one sale. Check in afterwards. And let me make this clear. It doesn't have to be long. First of all, like I said earlier, nobody's trying to read all that. In fact, shorter is better. Be clear and concise because you want to keep the momentum going of the conversation that you guys are having. When someone reaches out, they're in their buying window. That window is emotional. It's not permanent. It depends on their attention span and where they at. And if you respond 2 days later, that energy is gone, or they probably already forgot about you or purchased with someone else. And nobody wants to feel like they're fighting you to give you their money. So a follow-up is not extra, it's foundational. It communicates to them that you're saying, look, I see you and you matter. You just didn't become another invoice. This culture where people are being very intentional about how they're spending their money and where their loyalties lie, you have to make sure that you are making that connection. And in a culture where people are craving connection over corporation, that responsiveness is everything. Next thing I want you to think about and I want you to walk away is anticipate what they're going to need after the sale. Now, this is where both businesses drop the ball. They think the job is done once the product ships or the contract is signed, and that's where retention quietly dies. I have one client who owns a wellness brand, and they sell cold pressed juices. And you know what? Their customers love the juice, they love her, and some drink them because they taste good. Others use them like medicine because when she asked her customers, "What do you know about cold pressed juices?" A lot of them was like, "Hey, you drink this for when you have a cold, or you drink this kind of juice for when you have digestion or energy." But they didn't really understand the nuances of it or how it helps them with their overall wellness. So what she did is she intentionally created a process in her experience where she's also educating them on why you can't just run it under hot water and unthaw it, or why do you need to keep it frozen until you're ready to drink it. They understand how if they don't do those things, it will lose its quality and it's going to change the experience they're having with the product. So with doing that, she anticipates those questions, or she anticipates the things that they don't know because she understands her customers. After the purchase, customers receive like a clear written instructions, some storage guidelines, even videos. She goes all out because she does not want to just deliver juice. She also delivered confidence, and she also delivered an experience, and that changes everything. When customers feel supported after the sale, they don't feel like a transaction. They feel educated and they feel like you care about them. They feel like you want them to enjoy your product. That is how you increase the lifetime value of your customers, because people don't return just for products. I can go to a restaurant and the food could be great, but if the service was trash, I'm probably not going to go back. The next point I want to bring to you is you need to reward loyalty on purpose. Now, let's talk psychology because I'm not a psychology major, but look, you're going to understand this. Why do you check your Starbucks app before ordering? Or why do you stack points on Sephora? Or why do loyalty apps work? And that's simple. It's because incentives create momentum. Small businesses sometimes think the loyalty programs are corporate, but loyalty is human. People need a motivation. And it's also acknowledgement and appreciation. I don't know how long I've been a red tier level member of Chick-fil-A. We eat a whole lot of chicken sandwiches over here. But it's stacking those points and seeing those points like, well, you know what? I can pay for my meal today, but maybe one day I won't have it, but I got all these points and I could buy my meal with these points. And I can still continue with what I need. I can still continue to get the service or the product that I love because I've been so loyal and I can get these things for free. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can implement rewards however you want to, whether it's referral, join with a friend perks, some kind of tier loyalty discount like I just talked about with Chick-fil-A, bundles that build on one another, or points for repeat purchases. And here's the good news about that. And I know you're like, hey, I'm a small business. I don't have the capacity, nor do I have the skills to create some kind of fancy loyalty app like Chick-fil-A. Platforms like ShopPay and other third-party services already offer built-in point systems. And the key is intentionality. Give your customers a reason to stay, and it gives them a reason to invite someone else and keep coming. And that's how retention and acquisition start working together. You won't be spending so much time acquiring new customers because those loyal fans that you've created, they bring them with them. That's where some of that responsibility of acquisition kind of fades away because your retention is working. Your day one clients are coming back, and they're coming back with reinforcements. And that's what you want as a small business. If 2026 brings more conscious customers to your door, the question won't be, can you attract them? They're already attracted to you. You're 10 steps ahead because you're not a corporate entity. The question will be, can you keep them? Yes, acquisition gets applause, but it's retention that's going to help you build wealth. And if small businesses are about to receive more community support, then now is the time to strengthen the experience between we're interested and we're in. I promise you, they've already been looking at you. But like I said earlier, convenience is a hell of a drug. That space between we're interested and we're in is where money is either protected or it's lost. So don't just prepare to be chosen. Prepare to hold the growth. Prepare to create breathing room and prepare to build something steady. And if this episode made you realize you might have a few leaks in your pipeline, that's no shame. No shade. It's okay. That's clarity. And clarity is where the scale begins. That's all I have for this episode. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of More Than a Brand. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Remember, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the new upcoming episodes. And if you want to, find us on social media at fierceified.agency on Instagram or find us on Facebook at Fierceified Creative and Consultant.